Hello to all you BC Wrestle Pod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of the Takedown Troop, your weekly TNA wrestling review show here on the BC Wrestle Pod Network, Conglomeration Syndicate, YouTube, Twitch, podcasting thing we do pretty much every day except for Thursdays. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and of course, joining me is my lovely, lovely little co-host, Papa also himself, Will. And Will, we have a very fun show to talk about because this was the go-home show before TNA Sacrifice.
That is true.
I am super excited. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
But before we get into all that action, if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, follow us on the social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. We have a TikTok account. It's glorious. It's fun. We also have merchandise. And I'm super excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, we do a lot of wrestling reviews. So without further delay, let's just jump into it because I have lots of thoughts about this episode in TNA. Some positive, some questionable things. But you know what? We'll get into it with all of that. But let us just jump straight into it because TNA this week for Thursday, March 13th, kicked off with an advantage match in which we had Eddie Edwards versus Leon Slater, where the winner would get an advantage for their team come Sacrifice tonight, which is, this Friday the 14th, in the 10-man steel cage match. So I already knew that the good guy, Leon Slater, was probably not going to win because in wrestling, we're always conditioned and we're used to the face, the baby face, the underdog, if you will, having to struggle in these types of situations. So I was like, okay, that was a little weird, but hey, you know what? Ultimately, Eddie Edwards does pick up the victory. So they get the man advantage and come the steel cage match where they get their team to enter first into the order. So two people will be starting out. And then after a minute, then we'll have a member of, team assist, the team system come in, and then we alternate until everybody's in the ring. Will, what did you think about our opening match? And tell me why Leon Slater is a star. I'm just kidding.
The funny thing about it is, I have to talk about that awkward entrance. That was the most awkward thing because it was all like, ooh, and then the lights went out and I was like, ooh, and then the lights came up and it was just the two of them. And then everybody else just sort of strolled in. Like, what was that? I mean, was that intentional or was that like, oops? Because if it was intentional, then it's kind of like, ooh, what's going on with the system? Is the system breaking down? Which, to be honest, I kind of hope that is the case. I'm kind of done with the system. I think it's a faction that's kind of lived its day. It's no longer relevant, dare I say. Because, you've got, Moose wasn't even there, like at the entrance. He didn't come until way later in the show, and I know that he was doing other things with like NXT and all that, but I was just like, what was, I don't know. Anyway, yes, this match was great actually, because I actually really do like Eddie Edwards as a wrestler. I think he's fantastic. And of course, Leon Slater is just like the best, I think. And I know we were texting back and forth about it. And I'm really, really hoping that good things are coming his way soon because he's a star, man. I mean, he's got that charisma. And which I talked about on NXT the other day, the idea of that charisma that the crowd will go with you. And I think he's one of these people that the crowd will go with him because everyone loves him, excited that he was in the match. And then when he lost, you could feel the viewers kind of go, oh, okay, well, I like Eddie, but oh man, that sort of thing. So, but I really liked the match. The match was actually really good. The funny thing about it is I had to separate the system from Eddie Edwards. So I was literally like, okay, this is Eddie Edwards versus Leon Slater, not Eddie Edwards of the system wrestling Leon Slater. So once I did that, I was like, oh, this was a great match because I was just so done. And even Alicia wasn't as active in this as she normally is. So I wonder what that's all about.
Right? Which I actually didn't mind too, because sometimes, and this is just my thing, I think sometimes a heel, you want them to get a win without shenanigans because then you could still have credibility to them as a heel.
Right.
So,
but yeah,
again, Eddie picks up the win for his team. So they will get the man advantage come Sacrifice, which is going on right now as we speak. But hey, I'm gonna watch it this weekend. I'm excited for this card. I actually really like the card for Sacrifice. So we'll talk more about that in our review of Sacrifice next Friday. But let us move on. We get one final confrontation between Mance Warner and Sami Callihan backstage. I love this is the face that Steph is making in this picture.
Love it.
I was like, you go, Steph. You kind of dominate your way through this conversation because Sami can't touch Mance. Otherwise, the match is going to be called off. And I was just like, these are just two psychopaths ready to fight. And I'm here for it.
Seriously.
Cannot wait to watch this street fight match when I watch Sacrifice this weekend. So good. But let us move on. So once again, we have to bring back our obligatory segment of Laredo Kid, TNA cannon fodder. So, because we have Laredo Kid taking on NXT Wesley. Honestly, here's the thing. I did not hate the match. I actually really liked the match. I'm like, yes, this is the kind of opponents I want to see Laredo Kid fight. But as soon as I saw Wesley and Laredo Kid were fighting, I'm like, Wesley's going to win. You have to have him win before going into the pay-per-view. And Laredo Kid's going to win. I still like the match, though. I had a great time.
I did too, but I agree. Again, I think I even sent the text to you about, is he just fodder? Is that just what he is now? I mean, when he say, hey, Laredo, I need you to come in and lose again. I mean, it's like, really? Come on. And no, I mean, I it was a POC feast for the eyes, but I'm just like, give the man let Wesley beat somebody else. Why does it have to be Laredo Kid? I mean, like, truly, every time they announced Laredo Kid is wrestling someone, and then it's like Wesley, I was like, well, he's not going to win. Stop. I need you to stop using Laredo Kid as like pillow stuffing, please.
Yeah. Of course, like I said, Wesley wins. And then afterwards, we do get a little bit of a promo from the Rascals and Ace Austin running down their opponents before Sacrifice. So, Trey Miguel, I have missed you on the mic. So glad you're back.
And he was even off the mic. I was like, I love you, Trey. It was so
man.
Great.
I love this. I love this pairing between these three. I really, really do.
I do too. This was actually a really good promo. I really enjoyed this promo.
I did too. They run down the opponents and then they remind us that why they are the baby faces. I was like, yes, give it to me. This was a night of really fun, good promos. So that's what I love. So let us move on from this. So again, we are getting Wesley, Tyreek, and Tyson. Well, Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe versus the Rascals and Ace Austin at Sacrifice. Okay, so this was chaotic AF, and I love this moment right here. So Danny Luna and Jody Threat come to Santino, and they basically are complaining how George Iceman attacked them to rescue that House of Elegance. And so Santino is talking to Spitfire, and then the House of Elegance and George Iceman, the concierge, come in. Everybody starts screaming and yelling at each other. Santino gives the House of Elegance a rematch against Spitfire for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, but at Sacrifice, but then adds that it's going to be a 3-on-2, and the third person for House of Elegance is going to be George Iceman himself, because he decided to get involved and beat up Spitfire when they were training at the dojo. So we got another match as of last night made for Sacrifice, which is for the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships in a 2-on-3 handicap match with Spitfire versus the House of Elegance and George Iceman, the personal concierge. This is stupid, but like in the best way possible.
Absolutely. So dumb. It was brilliant.
I'm excited for this match, and honestly, I'm fine with whoever wins either way, because I was like, if this is the fun stories we're getting from this, I'm here for the dumb. I'm here for the dumb. I'm so excited. So this is another match we have to look forward to, which I'm kind of happy because I was like, I wonder why the tag titles are not on Sacrifice. Oh, well, at least they were on for Genesis, but now we get to see them. So fantastic. Good job all around, TNA. Give me more women's action because I will never say no. Speaking of women's action, we get into our first women's match of the evening, Xia Brookside versus Rosemary. And you know what? I want to see this feud continue because technically Xia Brookside does win, but after being misted in the face by Rosemary. I need a full lore dump of Rosemary's like miss. I'm like, I need more lore. What is this? Is it gonna affect Zaya? Is she gonna become more dark? Like, I was hoping we'd get that with Liang Li and Rosemary, but they had different plans for Liang Li. But
yeah,
I'm just happy to see Zaya Brookside back. I know she's been out for a little bit with injury, but then of course she was in the Battle Royale, and now she's facing Rosemary, and she beat Savannah Evans the previous week too. So this was fun.
It was it went exactly the way I thought it was going to go too. I figured there was going to be shenanigans. I didn't know which way it was going to go. At first I was like, okay, here comes the chain. Okay. I kind of figured Rosemary was going to pull something out with something. And then when Zaya was like wrapping it around her hand, I was like, oh girl, what you doing? And then of course the green mist or whatever they call it. And I was like, dang, Rosemary, you never disappoint.
No, you Rosemary, and I love you, Zaya. This was just fun. Sometimes you don't need something with super high stakes involved, which exactly this was. It was just a match to have a match, and I'm not mad at it.
Nope.
So good job, ladies. Cannot wait to see more of you down the road. Okay, this was question mark number 1. This was a weird segment. Okay, let me set this up real quick. So, first we get, Steve Macklin drinking, journaling. I was like, okay, are we going to get another cinematic thing we got before when he was dealing with his PTSD from a couple months ago? But then, Eric Young is also here. So at first, my mind was in the wrong place because I was like, is this a figment of imagination? Is he talking to an imaginary Eric Young? But no, he was physically there. They are still friends, but Steve Macklin makes it known to Eric Young he doesn't like the path he's on. He doesn't like what he did. He doesn't like, taking over the Northern Armory, and he doesn't want to join that. And Eric Young rebuttals by saying he understands that their paths on 2 different courses, but eventually they're going to come back together and the 2 paths will eventually collide. So, but he still cares for Macklin and he wants what's best for him. Macklin's like, I'm good. I don't want to join you. I already said that, so I'm gone. And then we get the final shot of Eric Young drinking and smiling creepily. I was like, this was a wild segment. I was like, what is going on?
I don't know about these segments. These are weird. I mean, they are just, we had the PTSD one, and then we have this one around the fire. And I was just like, what is this? I mean, was this just to say, hey, we're buddies, we're on 2 different paths, but we're still friends? Because I don't believe that for a second. I mean, it's one of those things like the mafia. You can never walk away from the mafia. So I honestly do not believe that Eric Young is just going to let Macklin walk away. I don't. I really don't. And I think they're going to come after him.
Well, so not to bury the lead a little bit, but we also learned later at the end of this episode before the main event that Steve Macklin will be fighting Frankie Kazarian. So I'm like, I think Eric Young and the Northern Armory are going to find their way to have some presence in that match. So we'll see. Now, whether or not that's to the best or the detriment of Steve Macklin, we will find out at the pay-per-view. But again, I like these 2. I just have questions about the direction we're going with this and the storytelling devices that we're using for this. You would think these 2 are old Army buddies. I was like, ma'am, y'all have been on the same page for 2 months.
My thoughts on this whole Northern Armory bullshit. Excuse my French, but it's
really weird that Eric took over, because they had to scramble because Josh was leaving and everything. And I was like, then let them just go back to being Center Insane or have Eric Young use his Dr. Doom or MF. Don't take an existing group that was built for Josh and then give it to Eric. Yes, I know Eric Young is Canadian. Y'all don't come for me in the comments, but still, it's not the same.
No, I agree. I just thought it just doesn't make any damn sense. No, and I wish I could wrap my head around it. I wish they would give me something for me to either get behind it or be completely against it. Because right now I don't really care. I'm just like, this is stupid. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I really don't care. And which is a huge disservice to, was it Saint and Center? The 2 guys? It's a total disservice to them. Because they're not bad, but they're kind of shadowed. They're always in the shadow of somebody.
We don't get to see them fight in TNA, which is crazy.
No. I mean, it's literally like, did you hire them to do anything other than just stand in the background?
And listen, I know they can go as a tag team because me and frickin' Andrew have seen them wrestle because they're also the Defy Wrestling Tag Team champs. And when we watched Defy, I was like, yo, these are great. Why aren't we getting this version in TNA? I don't know. So At Sacrifice, we will see if Northern Armory gets involved with Macklin's match against Frankie Kazarian. Let's not do that for a little bit.
Agreed.
Cody Deaner, they can never make me mad at you.
Oh my God.
He is ridiculous. And I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. I think Cody Deaner knows what his role is here in TNA and his role as a wrestler on this roster. And he is okay with that. I was like, damn, you have 4 children? That's wild.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I was like, what?
I was like, okay. I was suspecting like maybe a child or 2, but 4, I was like, are any of them going to be wrestlers? Because we could have a whole dynasty on this roster.
Seriously.
But basically, we get a promo and like a monologue, if you will, from Cody Deaner. And then we get the match between him and JDC. And I'm just like, Deaner, I want you to win so bad, but JDC gonna find a way to win. And sure enough, JDC finds a way to win and beats Cody Deaner. Again, this was just a match to have a match. And also, since JDC is involved in the 10-man tag match, and the system got to look good. This was not a great night for most of our faces on that team.
Nope, not at all.
So, no, but I enjoyed myself. I have nothing else to add.
I like this match, even though JDC gets on my nerves. And again, it's because I separated him from the system. I could enjoy the match more. But I mean, Deaner is just, he just cracks me up. He's just one of those guys. You're just so fun. You know, can we hang out?
I love it so much. I want to hang out with Deaner. And again, I agree with you. JDC doesn't make me mad too. Shoot, I was cheering for him to be Lexus King to be the new Heritage Cup champion when he challenged it over in NXT. And also, I have to give JDC credit because he put on a heck of a performance against Mike Santana in that Texas Death match during the summer.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
That was so beautiful. But Cody Deaner, if you see this, let's hang out. Me and Will want to hang out with you. You seem like fun. And JDC, good luck in the steel cage match tomorrow.
All right, bring the kids. We'll hang out with the kids too.
We'll make a picnic. We'll have dinner. It's going to be a whole time. It'll be a fun family thing as we watch JDC get thrown against the steel cage.
Exactly.
So, okay, here's the thing. I love Joe Hendry and I love the actual main event, but I have to say, I actually think this is probably my favorite match of the whole entire night.
This match was pretty awesome.
The ending was wild. Okay, but so let me set the stage and then we'll talk about the ending. So this is a Knockouts tag team match where we have Tessa Blanchard teaming up with NXT's Jade, taking on Liang Li and our TNA Knockouts champion, Masha Slamovich. Now, on paper, I wasn't sure how the chemistry was going to work, given the fact that these 4 women are kind of different in terms of their style of wrestling. But damn, they pulled it together. The chemistry was off the hook. I kind of do. And honestly, I also like Masha and Lee as a tag team too. This was just a really great tag team match. And of course, I figured Tessa and Cora was going to win, so no surprise there. But what surprised me, Will, is that Tessa got the pin. She pinned Masha in this match to pick up the victory for her team. And so I'm just like,
yeah, I agree. I think you're right. I was just that's why I sent you the message. I was like, wow. I was like, Tessa just pinned Masha. I was like, what? I mean, that choice really kind of blew me away. I was not expecting that at all. I thought for sure Tessa would have, if she was, going to pin anybody, it would have been Liang Li. But I was just like, what just happened? And I wonder, is this, and I'll give it to her. She went with it and she accepted it. But I was just like, oh my God. So I'm like, is this like set up? I mean, is this set up for, do we think that Tessa's going to be the next champion?
So, okay. The short answer to that is yes. I think we will see Tessa become champion before 2025 is over. I think that's the collision course. Now, whether or not it's going to happen at Rebellion, I'm still on the fence about it. Because on the one hand, I could totally see Rebellion as a big 4 pay-per-view. I could see the title changing hands there. But at the same time, and yes, I'm a little biased, but also in hindsight, I honestly don't think Masha has had enough of a run with it. Yes, she won it at Bound for Glory back in October, but I feel that maybe we should get one more pay-per-view defense where she retains, and then she can lose it at, I don't know, like Under Siege or something like that.
Right.
But again, I can also make the argument of them giving it to Tessa at Rebellion in April too. So it's still 50-50 for me. Now, Tessa versus Masha, I think on paper will be a spectacular match, and I think it'll be good. But I just hope that if they give the title to Tessa at Rebellion, if that is the plan, that they are prepared for that arena to boo everybody out the building.
Oh, yeah.
And TNA needs to be ready for the weeks to come, too, of the fans, like, totally not letting Tessa say or do anything.
Yeah. I think if that's where they're going with it, I think it's going to be a rocky road, like truly.
And of course, we'll be here to review it all, but yeah. So, but and that's the crazy thing. Like, despite all that, I really like this match. And this definitely sets Tessa up for a future shot, probably at Rebellion or sometime after that. But only time will tell, because after Sacrifice, it is all roads to Rebellion, which I'm excited I get to be there.
So that's exciting.
I will either be letting everybody in the group chat know of me cheering for Masha retaining, or sending a video, be like, y'all have to hear this crowd after Tessa won. Either way, it's going to be good content for us. Anyways, this is a great match. Kennedy, call the Uber. Call the Uber! Like, Jesus Christ, this was the best segment ever. And dare I say, I think this is my favorite story in 2025. And we only just started, but we get the summit. This is a cool picture and everything, but this is the real thing that happened. Like,
yeah.
Shout out to everybody involved, from Tom Hannafan being the moderator to Mike and Ali for doing this. And then, of course, the cabinet being in the background for Ali. So, okay, so I want to give my thoughts, because there was a lot of good stuff here. So initially when I went into this, I was like, okay, I think I know how this is going to go. Ali is going to play into the alcoholism. Mike is going to fire back by being amazing Mike Santana. Never in my wildest dreams did I think Ali would surgically assassinate Mike's character beyond the former alcoholic bit. Like, Ali talking about Mike Santana doesn't know what pressure is, talking about how he hasn't faced adversity yet, and diamonds are made under pressure, and Mike sacrifice. Ali is going to be that pressure for Mike. Mike rebuttals back by saying, is this like, you think I don't know what being under pressure is? And then he got into my favorite thing. He talked about himself, in the sense that he's under pressure every day. He gets up. Being 2 years sober is constant pressure to keep that up. And that he recapped everything that he's done to get him to this position right now. He dismantled the system one by one, so to speak. He made the face of TNA, say, I quit at Genesis. And then Ali takes some dark things. Mike Santana is like, oh, okay. Ali pulls out the wine bottle. I was just like, Mike Santana's like, okay, we're going to go there. Jumps. My favorite part is Mike jumping across the table, starts fighting Ali. So, okay. And then the excellent hands, the great hands get it. Ali gets it. Mike Santino is like, equal rights, equal fights, because then this was the crazy part to me. He throws Tasha to the side to continue fighting. I was like, Mike Santana for the people, equal rights, equal fights.
Yep.
Which
absolutely.
I love.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But then, of course, the number games would be too much. They beat up. And then to add insults to injury, salts in the wound, Ali lays a glass of red wine next to Mike. And he pats him on the back and says, you're going to need it. And then they all walk away with Mike. I was like, that is vile and sinister. And I loved it.
Me too.
This was an 8-minute segment. And like, I had to rewatch it to take notes. But upon my first watch last night, I took no notes because I was so enthralled.
Huh? Oh, me too. I was watching it. I think I even texted you during it. I was like, ooh. But yeah, it got dark. And God bless them. I'm going to give Mike Santana some huge props in the fact that he can use his alcoholism as a sort of, in his life, or in his character rather, not his life, and that it hasn't become a problem for me yet. It's like, okay, this is starting to get a little too dark. But no, I thought this was great. I have to say, you're right. I think this is probably my favorite story of 2025 so far. This rivalry is just ugly. and I am loving it. And it's not contrived. It's very like raw and real, even though this political character that Ali has is kind of okay. I see where you're going with it, but man, talk about dirty politician. I was like, damn, he plays it so well. He really does. And yeah, when he put that glass of wine down next to him, and I was just like, oh, geez, man. I really kind of hope Mike Santana destroys it.
So, so me being my little storyteller and booker hat, if you will, that was on for this, I was like, okay. Now, this was before I saw this. I was like, okay, we got Ali versus Mike Santana made like earlier in the week. And I was like, okay, we're probably going to get a trilogy. So I would expect like Ali to win this one. And then, Mike can come back and get the next two. But after watching Ali, I'm like, nah, Mike Santana needs to whip his butt. Like I changed my vote to Mike. I was like, I want to see Mike beat Ali. But that's how good this story has been. And that's how much this segment made me truly despise Ali's wrestling character.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you, TNA and Mustafa Ali, because I remember when he first came back and signed full-time a couple months ago, I was like, I'm not sure. I need more from this character than we got last time. And I feel like they listened to us because we've been getting dimension to Ali with the cabinet being added and now just the way that he's going after Mike. I'm like, honestly, this is probably my most outside of the steel cage match because I'm sick freak. But I feel like this is my most anticipated match on the card.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. I get that. Absolutely. After this segment, I have never in my life wanted a character to be destroyed like I want Ali's character to just be destroyed by Mike Santana. Not by no one else. It has to be the one that brings him down. Because man, I was on fire. I was so mad after this segment.
Love it.
I love him for it.
Oh man, it's gonna be so good. And I look forward to the match at Sacrifice. So good job on everyone, because y'all have me hook, line, and sinker for this story.
Yep.
Loved it.
Yep.
So we get a rundown of the Sacrifice card from our, commentator of the Drama King, Matthew Raywald and Tom Hannafan. We learned that there is a pre-show match where we'll see First Class taking on the Rado Kid, and from AAA, Octagon Jr., which is going to be fun. As previously mentioned, we also learned that Frankie Kazarian will be going one-on-one with Steve Macklin, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
So, why not? Main event time, where we have Joe Hendry defending his TNA World title. So Joe Hendry comes into the ring. And listen, we all love us some Joe Hendry in this household. WrestlePod stands Joe Hendry. Yep. But then Santino comes up to introduce his opponent. This was not what I was expecting.
Oh, my big brother. I was like, please, Ryan, shut up. Just shut up.
Listen, Ryan, I don't like your character, but, the character. You as the person are doing a fantastic job of creating this despicable character that we don't like. So I gotta give you props here. But Santino's face perfectly summarizes my feeling about this moment. He's like, I'm so over this. I don't get paid enough. Why am I here? So Joe Hendry beats Ryan Nemeth in like 5 seconds with a standing ovation. And then Santino's like, Joe, I know that's not the actual opponent I had for you. So if you're okay with it, would you want to still fight? Joe's like, I'm ready for a fight. And his real opponent is a returning Hammerstone. So Hammerstone is back from injury, and he is here to fight Joe Hendry for the TNA World Championship. Joe, come here. We got to talk for a little bit. Sir, I need to know who trained you. Like, holy crap. Now, here's the thing. We both know that Hammerstone is not a small dude. This man is trapped out with the muscles. But Joe Hendry threw him like nothing.
Like, he literally just, on several times, not once, like multiple times, picked him up over his head. I was like, all right, Joe, you just made me love you even more. That was so crazy. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, good Lord.
It was crazy. So again, Joe Hendry retains the championship. This does come with a bit of news too, that Hammerstone's contract with TNA is up. And so now he's back to being a free agent. So he did not re-sign. So, which is okay. You know what? Wherever Hammerstone you go, I'm happy that we got you in TNA, because I thought you were a lot of fun. So, but we end the show with this moment. where we had both teams fight it out in a brawl as the show goes off the air. My favorite part of this opening segment of the brawl was number one, where you sent me, and then I was like, "You're absolutely right." I'm like, "Is Moose wearing scrubs?"
That
I
shit
was
was
like,
funny.
I was like, "What what nursing night classes were you doing?"
Seriously, I was like, is that Scrubs?
That was the first part. Also, my other favorite part is everyone gets at the ring and they kind of run to their opponents to like start fighting. Leon Slater literally gets in the ring and jumps halfway across the ring to fight his opponent. He literally leaps punch, and I was like, "Let's give Leon Slater a title in 2025!" Like, he is killing it.
Oh, seriously, I totally agree with you too. They need to give him something. He needs something right now. Give it to him.
Like,
Yeah,
so good.
I agree with you. Totally.
But this brawl is how TNA goes off the air for this week, and that is how the go home show ends.
So crazy. Really good go home show.
It really
I was actually quite impressed. There wasn't a moment that I didn't enjoy. I mean, there were moments that I'm like, why are we doing this? But I enjoyed him, so yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I'm excited. So obviously, as we speak, Sacrifice is going on right now. It started earlier in the evening, but we will be back next Friday to do the review for TNA Sacrifice and briefly touch upon the next Thursday's episode as well, but with Sacrifice being our main focal point. So we got a lot of phenomenal matches for Sacrifice, and I cannot wait to review them with Will, my favorite little TNA co-host, my favorite friend. And yeah, I'm excited. Wrestling is now picking up in the spring. We had a bit of a calming period, after Elimination Chamber earlier in the month, but now it is all hands on deck because here at BC WrestlePod, between now and May, there's pretty much a pay-per-view review every single week with all these companies, and things will be kicking off next week as you get a very large dose of Will and I, and you will get to see a lot of us next week, as next Thursday, we will be reviewing 2 nights of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling in their Mayhem event, and then we'll be back Friday for the TNA Sacrifice review. And then the following week, you can catch me and Andrew reviewing British wrestling with Progress Wrestling and their Fix That Your Heart show. But we got to get up on out of here. So thank you for tuning into our review. A bit of a short one this week, but that is okay. I like that TNA did not waste my time this week with their go home show. So from myself, Will, and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more important than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you later for more wrestling review goodness, but until then,
thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.